What's good, y'all? It's your boy Jarod and your girl Gabby. We are back, episode 45 of the Kicks and Shit Show. It's good.
Ooh, okay. That was clean, Jarod.
Yeah, I'm working on the breath control. It's you gotta really make sure it's all coming together. But Gabby, what's going on in those streets? How are you?
I haven't seen a lot of the streets this week, Jarod, but I did get a new washer and dryer so I can keep my fits fresh. You know, that was a really fun moment for me. That's the definition of being an adult.
You literally text me, you're like, I have no washer dryer. There was no washer dryer. Your internet was messed up. Like, it was.
It's been a week in these streets, Jarod. It's felt like a month in the streets since we last connected, but, I feel like we've gotten another shot at life, Really happy to be here.
I can have clean clothes.
I have a digital washer and dryer. Let me tell you, the one thing that they don't tell you is
that digital is nice, right?
So what happens behind your washer and dryer when your building hasn't replaced it in 20 years? Let me tell you, I had David the gnome crawled out from under there and he was like, feed me, and then ran out of my apartment.
Wait, with Swifty or without Swifty? With the fox, Swifty, or without Swifty?
Oh, no, just him.
Okay.
I was like, no, I had to actually Swiffer out Swifty. He didn't make it. Yeah, sorry. That took a turn. I
that's a little sad.
But what's going on in the streets for you, Jarod?
Oh, man, it's we are back post All-Star, so it's the throes of NBA. We're gearing up. It's maybe going to be spring. We had spring forward, right? A little daylight savings time. So you lose that hour. It's just bright as hell out later, which kind of feels good, except it's cold as hell out right now. So I don't feel great about that. I will say there have been some interesting things in the news that I've been looking at vis-a-vis sneakers. And, they were recording this. There's going to be a clubhouse chat tonight with our friend Kari, a.k.a. Sneaker Fetish. And, well, I'm not going to say who because that person is going to be a future guest on this show. But something sprouted up around who's had more impact on the sneaker culture. Tinker Hatfield or Kanye West. And it was a really interesting sort of people are coming at it from different points. And obviously, a lot of the older heads were like, it's Tinker. Obviously, a lot of the younger people were like, no, it's got to be Kanye. And it's what it is to me, just straight off the start. It's different, right? Like Tinker, of course, we know what Tinker has done with the Jordan line. But even if you just take his Jordan stuff away, you go Air Max. Tinker has been involved in so many things, and his stuff is generational because he came first, right? Who knows in 20 or 30 years what the Yeezy legacy will be? I was gonna say we won't be around. Hopefully, we won't be around then because that's not that long. No, I was doing the math in my head that ain't that long.
Yourself. I ain't going anywhere for a long time, Jarod. So I will be around.
That ain't that long, but it'll be interesting to see 30 years from now. What is the Yeezy legacy, right? And so it's just, but you know how it is on the internet. Everyone's got to fight and find a corner and while out and yell. And I'm like, let's just see what it looks like for, Kanye post with what he's doing with the Yeezy line.
Do you know what I have to say, though? I have 2 points. I'll start with the first one that I think you're going to really enjoy. Do you know what this debate reminds me a little bit of?
LeBron and Michael Jordan?
Absolutely. I'm glad you took that light up. Steph Curry with the shot going up the shot. That's exactly what I think it is, right? Is Jordan paved the way in the way that Tinker did. It was something that was new and different.
Right.
And there's an obvious legacy there. But I will say, though, Kanye has also done something new and different. I mean, those dumpling shoes that just came out, I don't want any dim sum in my sneaker closet. Not for me. But you know what? It's innovation. It's different. It's something that we've never seen before. So I can't hate on that.
Yeah. I love it. She said, I don't want any dim sum in my sneaker closet.
They look like dumplings.
But how do you feel about dumplings in general, though?
I love
delicious,
dumplings.
Right? Yeah. They're quite good. But
fried,
So it'll be interesting to see, and we'll talk about this more next week with our guest and in the weeks to come. I just think that what we're seeing is an evolution, right? Of course, and we talk about this all the time. Jordan Brand and the OG, they're not going anywhere. But 30 years from now, when we are older and there are people who are our age now or younger, what are the sneakers that they're going to be into or interested in? It might look a lot different, I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't say. I can't be out here per se oh, this is what it's going to be. look, Jordan still may rule the day. They may not. Time will tell. But I thought it was an interesting piece to look at. And I know we'll talk about this later with our guest. Also, I love what Foot Locker's doing. Obviously, hiring Melody Asani, Reebok hiring Portia. We talk about, of course, it's Women's History Month. We love the fact that brands are doing things for the ladies. We know, of course, like, this is just one step, right? Like, it's like we got many, 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 many miles to go before we're at a place. And as I always say, Gabby, it's like the world, right? Like, the world has many, 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 many miles to go before it is a true place of inclusivity, right? So sneaker culture is no different.
But I will say, though, any progress is still progress. And I take that as a win. You know, I think this episode is extra special, too, because, you know, when this comes out, I know we've talked about Air Max month. It's going to be officially Air Max week leading into the actual Air Max day. So I love that we're talking about Tinker because he's been such a pioneer for such a classic silhouette. And I'm excited to see where everything goes, you know? Like, I don't know. I'm coming from a place of zen and positivity this week, Jarod.
Yo, you think in 30 years you're going to be rocking Air Maxes?
As long as they don't crumble in my closet, absolutely.
Because you actually will be. Oh, maybe. I was going to say, you will be Grandma Gabby by then. Maybe. I don't know. I'm trying to do the math in my head. Like, well, got to get married. And then I'm like really doing all the quick math. Like, well, I mean, it's all.
I was going to say, put me on the fast track, Jarod. We'll see.
It's all possible.
I mean, it's all possible, yes. Possible. But right now, I'm not trending positively towards that. Just keep it 100, you know? Right now, slide in my DM, guys. Taking male suitors.
But just fellas, please be respectful if you're gonna be. Please don't be. This ain't an open casting call. Like, chill. Chill.
Yeah, no, cuffing season's over. Sorry, guys. You know, gotta wait till next year.
As usual, we always trend into Kicks and Shit Show After Dark. So we'll put a bow on this and get ready for our guest. She is someone who obviously, you know, champions women in the industry and carved out her own platform and her own lane. And I think you guys will enjoy hearing from her. So stay tuned. Peace. What's good, everybody? We are back. And Gabby, we are not alone. We are joined by the CEO, founder, the creator of CNK Daily, Channing Beumer. Channing, what's good?
Listen, that intro is. Can you follow me?
Listen, Channing, let me tell you. Every week,
Starbucks.
Every week, people say that, and I say the same thing every time. No problem. I'll do that for you. 10% of all earnings here to go, and we good to go. No problems.
I'm great, guys. How are you?
We're happy to have you.
Living. Trying to maintain in these COVID streets as we were talking about off air. You know. I
really do wish that you guys had seen our conversation before we actually started this and just seen the frustration.
I feel you. I mean, I say this to Jarod every week that we should be recording the pre-stuff because this is when we get the good stuff, right? We talk about, like, we record on Skype, you guys. I don't know if you have used Skype since, like, the 90s.
I don't know if you've heard of Skype, but it's this thing.
Ask your parents, ask your grandparents.
95 knows what Skype is.
Yeah. My AOL email is my backup email.
Yo, AOL emails were the shit back in the day. Like,
wait, I have to ask though. I know we're going on a tangent already. What was your AOL email / screen name? I need to know from both of you.
I'll
share mine. Mine's very embarrassing.
What was yours?
Foxy Roxy 82384 because
birthday, right? And
my birthday. Yeah. And Foxy rhymes with Roxy. I don't know what bag I was in back in college, but, you know, I had a Roxy sticker on the back of my car. Foxy Roxy.
Oh, God. I think mine was like, oh, my God. I think
it's a safe space.
I think mine was like Channy Gal 817 or something like that. Oh, help me, Jesus.
I love it. Help me, Jesus. Unfortunately, I'm not as fun as you guys. I was like J Hector 1121. Like, it was very just like, you know, I was very boring like that, right? Birth date and like my first initial last name. But it is funny, right? Because you think back.
I really thought you were saying like basketball number or something like that, because that was literally the thing.
I know. Like, it's your number, or like. Or Chicago Bulls super fan 2-3. It's like, all right, dude, like, chill with that shit. Like,
the overly poetic away messages and everything.
Perfectly okay at the age.
You know what to do. That was my favorite.
Oh my God. No, literally used to sit by the boombox, which y'all don't know what that is.
Oh yeah, I mean, shit, we
But
know what a boombox
used to
is.
sit by and like record a song and then like be like, "Hi guys, this is Channing."
Leave it.
It
Period.
was like usually like 112's Cupid.
Oh,
Yeah.
Channing.
Like,
Oh, ooh.
Mine was no diggity.
Let's talk about 112 Cupid. I may or may not have made a mixtape. Yes, a mixtape. Not a mix CD, a mixtape, right? Potentially for someone.
A lady?
Possibly. With
Oh.
with 112's Cupid definitely on there.
When I tell you, I to this day, listen, like I'm gonna whisper because my parents are here today. I ruined like 4 computers just because of LimeWire. My mom's like, "What's wrong with the computer?"
Oh, I don't know. Weird.
Like, I don't know where all these viruses came
Oh,
from.
I don't know. Word.
Pop up? What?
Yo, the early internet was wild, right? Like you were just like out there, like you didn't know what the hell was going on. You're in these random ass chat rooms. You're like, what the fuck is going on?
ASL? You know what that is? It's age, sex, location. No, that was like the prerequisite when you go into the AOL chat rooms back in the day. It would be A/S/L, age, sex, location, to make sure that I wasn't like a 16-year-old or a pedophile. Yeah, you don't remember that?
Which, by the way, how many people were lying their ass off and being pedophiles all up in them rooms? Like,
you think I wasn't like, I'm 14, nice to meet everyone?
Don't
absolutely not.
Clearly, I'm pretty sure I was like conversing with some questionable figures on MySpace.
100%.
Like, probably. Absolutely. And don't get me started on Black Planet.
Oh, shit. Oh, Black Planet. Anyway,
that was my early web design flex.
Look at you.
At the Sparks.
Oh, I was
Man.
a live journal girl myself, you know.
Look at you. Guys, we could really get into this whole thing because this is wild, as Gabby likes to say.
If you're not a Nike Talk veteran, you can't be friends.
Oh, look at, see, you see?
How many of our guests, though, have mentioned Nike Talk, though? That's what I want to know. Like, that's when you know it's real.
Yeah, quite a few of them have. And see, that's how we know. We got real ones on here. But Channing, you know, we want to start at the beginning. That's where we start with everybody. So, doing my best, Sanaa Lathan in Brown Sugar. When did you fall in love with sneakers?
Like butter, Jarod.
There's so many. You know what? There's so many points of my life where I like fell in love and recommitted and like all of that stuff. And so obviously first and foremost was when I was a kid. So I was very much a girly tomboy. Like I was climbing trees in dresses, like in ruffle socks, like living my best life. And everybody knows, like when you go school shopping at the beginning of the year and you get your stuff, like I was used to going to Payless and getting my LA Gear light ups. And one day my mom was like, "Hey, we're gonna go to Foot Locker," and I was like, "Oh my God, big girl shoes!" And so my shoe that I picked out was the Nike Cortez, and I fell in love. Like I wore those mugs out. Like you couldn't tell me anything about myself. And that's when I really was like, I like these. Like I like sneakers, but whatever. And in all honesty, growing up, like I wasn't allowed to get anything other than like Air Force Ones, Cortezes, K-Swiss. Those were my 3. Anything, don't even ask about Jordan. I circled the eBay catalog so much and was like,
They were like, nah, chill.
Christmas? And I was like, no.
The eBay catalog was the best, though. Like, that was vibe. Whatever came in the mail.
The greatest. So, like, you know, then I, you know, was in high school and had my, like, my Steve Madden phase with the wedge shoes and shit. And, like, I look back and I'm like, you're already 5'6". Like, really, you want to be cool? Like, with the bell bottoms and all that stuff. And then the Olympic 7s dropped, re-released in 2003, I want to say. And my boyfriend at the time had some, and he gave me some for my birthday, and I opened it, and I fell in love all over again.
With
And
the
I was
shoes
like,
or with him?
oh, shoes.
I was trying to. I was like,
No pause.
I figured. I figured. I was just.
But that's when I was like, yo, I'm gonna get back into this. Like, this was my jam, especially because they were J's. Like, I'd never been able to get them. And so then I got into college and still had no money. So I was really kicking it in like New Balances, like, you know, just rocking the New Balances to school all the time. Kept it up with my Forces and my Cortezes, and then when I finally graduated to adult money, I was able to like snag stuff that I'd always wanted and all of that stuff. So really, for me, it's always been something that I gravitated towards because I not only did I love it, but I just felt like myself.
Yeah.
In sneakers, like I felt like I could be myself.
Yeah.
And not do the struggle baby walk.
I love it. The struggle baby.
It comes with heels.
Yep, that baby deer.
Yeah.
I love it.
Catch me after the club circa 2007.
Nothing is more attractive than a girl who can't walk in their heels, said nobody ever.
Well, you know, I mean, I'm quite old. I don't frequent clubs anymore, but
not anymore. I haven't gone to a club in like 10 years. It's fine.
But clubs, right?
I'm done with you.
But you know, being up here in NYC, Gabby, you know this, the famed cobblestone streets in the meatpacking district, and
in Hoboken, the famed cobblestone streets off the path in Hoboken.
And I know on a club night that 2, 3, 4 in the morning, it's like, oh God, we gonna see some spills and all kinds of ridiculousness.
Leaving One Oak with like a balancing competition to go get that late night slice of pizza.
Nah. I actually did like a shoot in those streets, those same Hoboken streets, and there were other bloggers like in their heels just struggling, and I was there in like Reebok classics, like
I'm good.
What like it's hard or something?
What like it's hard? Oh, Channing, you said something about adult money, and that, you know, I wasn't gonna go here, but it's just so interesting. What was it like when you got that first adult paycheck, and where you're like, shit, I'm about to, you can't really tell me nothing now. I'm going to the store. I'm getting like, this.
I was like, the government takes this much?
That's the first thing. You're like, wait, how much?
Like, how much did I actually make? Like, that was like my thing. Like, really? This is taxes?
And we're still in debt as a country? How?
You're definitely not getting that student loan payment. Kidding. Paying you, Sally.
I love it. I love it.
But nonetheless, I really did. I really was like, wow, I made it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's the first time you actually make adult money. You're like, yo. I mean, for me, it was a little warped because I was in sales, right? So it was like a commission check, and I was like, for real? This is how you get paid out here in these streets? I mean, you know, might have wilded out a little bit, but you know, much smarter now.
Right.
So obviously you love sneakers, and that brings us to CNK Daily, which I love because it's for the ladies. And even though it's for the ladies, I'd definitely be on there checking stuff out because I'm like, let me see what perspectives y'all got on stuff. And where did the genesis for CNK Daily come from?
So really I had a website prior to CNK, and it was a music website. And I just didn't feel like that was what I was called to do, to be honest with you. And we had a section of the website called Chicks and Kicks. And it was where I went and I interviewed women, because I obviously love sneakers, and interviewed them in sneaks to talk about what they were doing with their lives. And I just felt so fulfilled doing that. But also I saw so much love for it. There were so many people who were like, this is awesome. And so I just kind of took that as confirmation and took a leap and closed down the old website. But first I Googled Chicks and Kicks, and literally all that came up was like girls in bikinis and J's. And I was like, oh, this is not me. But I also feel like if you're going to criticize something, like, come up with a solution. You know what I mean? Like, try to find a solution. So I wasn't going to keep complaining about it and not do something. So I was like, well, I didn't really see myself reflected in the media of that time. And so I was like, I feel like we can create it. So shorten the name from Chicks and Kicks to CNK Daily. and launched the website, closed down the old one, and the rest is history.
Love that.
Literally, like, started the Instagram, it had like 10 followers. It was so cool. It's been so cool to see it grow and to see girls really gravitate towards it, and to see the elevation of the female sneaker community now. 'Cause, I mean, it's always been there. You know, you have like OGs who've literally been in this since like early 90s. And it's nice to see that them finally getting that just due. So
I was gonna say, you've done a great job too of also making it an inclusive community, which I think is the most important part, right? Not just looking at problems, but solutions within the culture. And you talk a little bit about the evolution of the site. So I would love to get more into that, how you came up with the Sneak Her style. It's one of my favorite weekly series posts that you guys do. And just, what's the difference between where you started and where you are now?
how it started, how it's going.
Exactly.
So I think the main difference between then and now is a little bit more direction. I think, back then it was really like, oh, we're just gonna put this out and we're gonna throw things against the wall and see if it sticks. But now we've really begun to understand our audience and to understand the girls that we're serving. And I think understand that there is such a spectrum with our platform. Everybody from the novice to the girl who has had a sneaker connect since she was 5 can come and access stuff and feel included. And that's one thing that I really pride myself on. That in the team that we've built in our building. There's some amazing women that are working with me that I wouldn't have met if not for this, and they're smarter than me, which is a blessing. So it's nice to have people who you can learn from and you can grow with. That for me is number one. But as far as like content, I think sneaker style was just a natural evolution. It was just kind of a term that I kind of thought, oh, this makes sense. You know what I mean? Especially because we really wanted to talk about this in terms of a style aspect, because I'd never really seen that done before. Where like if you look at like fashion blogs and stuff like that, they're really talking about style and how to style their shoes. And I thought it was something that was really missing in the space, to talk about how to style your sneakers. Like, what can you wear with a dress and a pair of ones? Like, you know what I mean? So that's really where that catalyst came from. And then just the evolution rather, of just the Sneak Her moniker. That's just something that really began to stick and just flow naturally in everything that we do and in every way that we operate.
I love that. It's so interesting because obviously this is Women's History Month, and we've had so many dope women's guests on, and you talked about all the women you work with, and one of the things I love about what you said, that these women are smarter than you. A mark of a good leader and good CEO is filling the knowledge gaps, right? Knowing enough to know what I don't know, but I'm gonna get somebody who does know what I don't know to make this stuff hot, right? Because that's the whole point. I'm trying to make this thing really pop, so I need the smartest people in here. Whatever I don't know, I gotta fill that up. And I love the fact that brands now, and I want your take on this, are seemingly trying to get women involved. We know that Melody Asani is now the new creative director over at Foot Locker. Portia Blunt's new VP of apparel over at Reebok. Do you think that this is finally the industry being like, all right, we out here, we're going to be really inclusive. It's not just token hires. We really mean this shit, and we're going to listen to these women and try to make a difference?
I think to an extent, yes. But I do think that there's still a lot of work to do. I think that, Melody is amazing. Portia's amazing. I think that there are so many other women too, though. And so I think it's important that we don't get so stuck in a bubble, that we continue to elevate people who are already elevated, right? But also want to make sure that you're giving just due to people who are in the community who have built it. definitely interested and want to see more Black women in leadership positions, especially in C-suite positions within these brands, in decision-making positions in the boardroom when they're talking about who they're pitching to or what the shoe is going to mean to this consumer or that consumer. It's important to have the people that you're selling this to be present in the decision-making process. And so, Rome wasn't built in a day. You know what I mean? So it's not like you're necessarily expecting these changes overnight, but I do think that we do need to see some consistent changes in who is creating and who is making the decisions, especially in the higher up positions. That's definitely something we're pushing for with our collective.
I love that. And do you think that some of this mainstream appeal, especially like I feel like I see Jordan 1s everywhere, all over town, even mids are having a moment.
You see mids everywhere.
You see mids everywhere, which is new. I see a lot of Jordan 1s though in general. I mean, I'll be out in the streets, well, the covered up streets. Yeah, I still go to stores sometimes, Rod. I don't mean like the club streets. Let's not manage expectations here, okay? I'm not any cobblestone streets. I consider the grocery store and CVS to be the streets because you got to wear shoes to go out of the house in those streets
these days.
So those are the streets that I'm at. In the CVS streets, shouts to CVS. This episode is not sponsored by CVS.
Canned goods streets.
Basically. Yeah, in the canned goods streets. I see a lot of Jordan 1s. Do you think that because sneakers are more mainstream, that's what's fueled the need for this conversation in the women's space?
Do I feel like the like sneakers going mainstream?
Do you think that mainstream is igniting a fire under these brands to have more of that appeal and finally listen to some of the concerns and questions that women in the culture have had for years because there's now a larger voice?
To an extent, to an extent, I think really market share is a lot. We saw about 2 years ago, we saw the women's sneaker market increase 39%. Numbers talk, right? So when you see your market share go up, especially in a sector that has been dominated by luxury heels for the longest time, it turns your attention. It makes you do a swivel move. But also, I will say social media has played a huge role because now women have a voice and they have followers and they are not shy about sharing their opinions. They are not shy about sharing what they like, and they are not shy about sharing what they don't like and what they don't find acceptable. And so I think too, when you have platforms like, CNK Daily and, our sisters over like Kicks and Froze and True to Size and really creating content without the help of brands and really championing women without the help of brands, it's kind of a call to action, I think, for them if they're smart, right? To really tap into a market that is super fresh and, more importantly, super invested in what they wear, and a market that buys for their family. Like, women buy for their families all the time. So you want us in your corner.
Oh yeah, that's dead on. And I think it's I mean, we could talk about this for literally hours, but this ties it back into your whole point about inclusivity, right? Like, how can you try to have a conversation about women's market when the people in the room making decisions ain't no women in there, right? Like, sure. I mean, what do you know about shit? Like
the mathing, you get what I mean?
Right. And the right women. It's not even just the women in the rooms. I think, like, let's take it a step further, right? It's like women who truly have an understanding of the needs of the type of women that are looking at sneakers.
Yeah.
I will also
consumer. I think that's important. But also women who have a pulse on the street and what is important to us. Yeah. More importantly, because it's not just about aesthetics. You can put together a cute shoe, but do you really know what's important to us? With all this storytelling and whatnot, do you really know what's important? I think that's the question.
Yeah, I think another interesting point there too, and I think Gabby and I talked about last week. Like, so much of the sneaker culture when we talk about is based on these collabs, right? Or the drops that come out, right? But for Nike and all these other brands, those ain't the shoes that like drive their bottom line. Like, they're just not. Like Nike's, the Tanjun is what keeps the lights on, right? The shoe that you find
Air Force One keeps the lights on.
in Dick's Sporting Goods in
Uptown.
Milwaukee.
Damn, it's that damn dad shoe.
Yeah, the Tanjun.
Oh, the Monarch.
Oh, the Monarchs.
No,
the Monarchs. Yep.
Monarch is the daddest of the dads.
Those are the shoes that keep the lights on, right? So, to the point about women, right, and the women who buy it for their families, the mom in, I don't know why I keep picking on Iowa. Let me find another state.
It's okay. I'm from Minnesota. We can pick on Iowa.
The mom in Kansas City ain't necessarily going out to the store and being like, all right, let me get my kids some Jordan 1s. No, she's going to Dick's and like, all right, I got 4 kids. Here we go. This one for you. Like, whatever Nike one's on the wall. So how much of it is we need people who understand the business side of it, right? And that, the units, and also the culture and like what is relevant in the real streets, not the CVS and canned goods streets.
Obviously, I think there's a balance that you have to strike with both of these things, right? So at the end of the day, this is a business. And if Nike doesn't sell shoes, or if Reebok doesn't sell shoes, or Adidas doesn't sell shoes, they're out of business, right? Or they didn't sell their apparel or whatever, they're out of business. But I think you also have to strike a balance between asking people to spend their money and committing to them as a consumer, right? And making sure that you're giving them something that's quality and giving them an experience that they can take to the bank and say, okay, I'm glad that I bought those shoes. I'm not mad about it. Do you get what I mean? So I think it's definitely a balance that's being struck right now. But we'll see. We'll see what happens in the next few years.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the thing I talked about last week, Gabby, right? The idea of the contract between the consumer, us, and the brand, right? Like, we want to feel like it's an experience that was worthwhile, or else it's like, yo, why am I giving you that hard-earned adult money that I had to work for, right? Like, I mean, this is not we're not feeling this, like, after taxes, right? After the government done run through my pockets, like, now,
right.
So I want to make sure this is a good experience. Now, this is incredible. We could literally talk to you about this for 17 hours, but we ain't got that kind of time. We don't have that kind of time. But folks, stay tuned because you know what's coming up next. America's favorite segment, Shoe and Tell, presented by Another Lane, the premier digital marketplace for dope kicks. So stay tuned. What's up, y'all? We are back, and you know what time it is. America's favorite segment, Shoe and Tell, presented by Another Lane, the premier digital marketplace for dope kicks. Shouts to our friends Adina and Chad Jones, the sneaker god and goddess. they are the best.
Goddess. You know what I mean?
I know.
God, you're gonna do it. Gotta do it all the way.
You gotta sound like you're like an old Italian woman. Like, what's the tool?
Yeah.
I
Let's
love
gabagool.
it. Gabagool. Look at that. They're gonna be like, what are you guys talking about?
No, I'm kidding.
But
We
you guys know, if you want to know anything there is to know about sneakers, sneaker culture, if you are someone who wants to sell shoes, you want to look for that exclusive pair that you're like, man, I don't know, StockX is kind of crazy. Look, anotherlane.com, Chad and Adina will help you out. Tell them we sent you and check that place out. It is a dope spot. Now, Channing, this segment is all about you. So the floor is yours.
It's my favorite part.
This is all right. That makes me a little nervous. You're like triggering my anxiety.
My bad. Just
Your mouth got a little dry.
She's like, hold on.
All I know is I'm like creating my virtual shopping list in my head. I'm like, wait, okay, we wear the same size.
Oh yeah, Gabby is taking note right now of everything, and she's like, ooh.
I might have a few things to send you, so let me know.
I was like, don't tease a girl like that.
Yeah, listen,
I'm not. I always like to, like, when I get shoes, I like to give a pair away.
Oh. Oh, listen.
Don't worry, Gabby. I'll send you.
Gabby gonna be all up in your.
Now my throat is dry. I'm like, I need some water. I'm like, whoo, sheesh.
All right, show us that first pair, Channing.
Okay, so you wanted me to just show you and then tell
Jordan? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so first pair it's not the flossy floss.
It's not about floss. It's about why it matters to you.
It's a
I knew it was coming.
It's a classic Cortez. Listen, when I tell you how much I love this shoe, I love this shoe. I have, like, you know how people have like 8 different you know, Jordan 11s. I have like 15 different Cortezes. Like, this is my shoe. I love it. It will forever be my favorite because it was my first. So, yes, favorite. There we go.
Shouts to Forrest Gump, too, by the way.
And they say romance is dead.
I said shouts to Forrest Gump, too, by the way. Thank you, Cortez.
Everybody does that to me. Like, that's not...
I did not do that to you. I said it's first love, romance.
Everybody's like, they're the Forrest Gump shoes. I'm like, no, listen. Forrest
There's
Gump.
so much more than that.
No, there are way more than that. It is a real love affair. I can tell.
Right. Okay, so these are a little beat up, but I love them.
Love it.
This was my first and last experience with resale.
Oh.
So I actually was like looking for these. I've been looking for the original Air Max, and then they re-released them. I don't know if you guys remember, but they re-released them for the anniversary like 3 years ago. And I hated that little like 326 on the tongue. And I was like, I don't want that. That's not the one I want. And so I searched high and low for these. Ended up finding them on eBay.
Yeah. Okay.
On eBay for $70.
Someone didn't know.
Someone didn't.
That's the best though. When they don't know.
And so I was just like, oh my gosh, is resale like this? And then I realized very quickly it was not. So this was a unicorn, but one of my favorite shoes. I wear it all the time.
Love it.
That.
All right. So another one. So.
Oh, okay.
I'm pulling things that aren't like super hype.
I would say I'm shocked by this pair.
Are you? Okay.
See what I did there?
The story.
Gabby, Jesus.
I said I'm shocked by this pair.
Listen, she is a pun she's a dad pun master. That is what she does.
All right. So the shocks. Interesting story about the shocks. Remember how I told you when I was a kid I was not allowed anything but an Air Force One, a Cortez, or a Case West. So, being the daddy's girl that I am, I bribed him to take me to Foot Locker after school one day, without my mother's knowledge, of course.
Obviously.
And because I'd seen the commercials with the shocks, and I just wanted a pair so bad. So we went to the Foot Locker, and the only pair that they had in my, well, it wasn't even my size. It was like a size and a half, 2 sizes too big. But it was like the white and the gray, with like the gray shocks and stuff like that. And I convinced him to buy them for me. And being the trickster that I was at that age, I also wore them out the store so my mother could not force me to return them.
That's brilliant.
I love it.
And then I got home. When she saw them on my feet, she said, "What are those?" And basically, they were taken away until they could actually fit them. But nonetheless, I was grounded. And then I got my adult money, and these came out last year. And I was like, "Oh my God, I need to have these!" And I put them on my wish list. And then they showed up. It was really nice. A friend of mine from the brand sent them over, and I was like, "Oh my God, thank you so much!" But they actually fit.
I love it. I love it. Those are the best stories, man. Like, I love it.
Yeah, I finesse. And I did. I finesse. Not gonna lie.
Gabby, she said, "Let me wear them out the store." Because see, that's the beauty about when you're a kid, right? You are already playing the imaginations out in your head. I'm definitely gonna get in trouble. How do I figure it out to make sure that I can still keep it? Okay, if I wear it, we can't take it back. Like you're doing all the things.
Kids are criminals for that reason. It's brilliant. It's like
my poor dad. He was clueless. Like, and I just, as like a girl, like Daddy will get me what I want if I just say please and Daddy. Yep, I will get what I want. And so, yeah.
Reason number 100, not to have daughters. See, there we go.
I don't know. My brother got everything that he wanted from my mom, so it is the same thing, Jarod.
Not quite.
Listen, my mother was not having that nor playing it, and yeah, that was a bad day.
Yeah, but you still won though, and like, you know what? I feel like that's a very fair compromise with the parents saying you can wear them when they fit. That's not too bad.
It's also the grounding though. That's the thing,
I would say I would be grounded for that.
I'm gonna get these, and this was before smartphones. So what? So oh my God. So what I did is I took my little disposable camera and took a picture of my shoe and showed it to them.
Nice. I love it. This is fantastic.
After it got, of course.
I hope you still have that picture.
I don't know. search. I have like this big bin full of like pictures.
I bet it's in there.
And everything.
Bet it's in there.
In there. I'll have to look. But yeah, okay, so God, there's so many things to choose from. All right,
Light flex.
I think
no, little dust off that
another
shoulder.
thing I wanted to share was this one.
Oh.
So I don't know if you guys are familiar. This is, I believe, the second shoe that Kirby Jean Raymond designed for his Reebok collaboration. And I'm a big fan of like storytelling. I'm a big fan of like when designers actually reach into the community and take something from the community for their aesthetic. And so I just really like the story behind his collections. I'm a huge fan of his. I like fangirl every time he pops into Clubhouse. But yeah, I really love these shoes, especially because they tell a story. And we were actually able to do a shoot with these at the Dallas African American History Museum when they had an amazing exhibit from a young lady who was one of Thomas Jefferson's slaves. It's just really interesting, like the dynamic between, or the juxtaposition between like then and now, and just really paying homage and, I don't know, just really taking a step and thinking about how far we've come as people. I think that's so important. And so I really want to make sure I support designers who tell those stories and aren't afraid to tell those stories. So I love him. I think he's amazing. God, there's so many other things. What else do y'all want to see?
What is your most worn pair, your favorite like go-to currently? I know that for me changes all the time, so
it really does. Okay.
I love this. I'm like, we're in the vault.
I see some 11s back there on the.
You know, I'm looking at those 97s.
Actual existing rotation is, let me flip the trunk.
I love it.
So, these dunks are heavy rotation right now. I love them, and they will be in heavy rotation all summer. These silver toes.
Oh, Gabby,
I haven't put mine on yet. I love these so much.
Realize I would love them as much as I do.
Obsessed. I wish I had a second pair already, and I haven't even put them on yet.
Absolutely obsessed. The satin lining in here is chef's kiss.
Mm-hmm.
And I really didn't realize that I would love them as much as I do, but I love them. So I sent a tweet, like when all of that stuff was going on, I was like, you know what, a surefire way to get your way is to not buy hype. Just go for like stuff that isn't hype. And one of my favorite like non-hype shoes that I'm so grateful that no one like is like coveting is the P6000. This is like,
oh, okay. I like the gold.
Yes. I actually just picked these up at Amamanier in Houston. And I love these. I have a few other colors, but I love the P6000. That's in heavy rotation right now. And then also in heavy rotation right now, something that I think was really slept on is the Space Hippie.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Super comfortable.
Yeah, everyone says that.
Super comfortable. I have like a pair to work out in, and then I have a pair on ice, just waiting for the day that my sole falls off. It won't, but
it's a lot of sole to fall off, though. I don't think that one's going anywhere.
Yeah.
I know. I never. You know what? I always get scared when the sole is over like an inch, because then I'm like, this is taking me back to my Steve Madden days. So that's so those are the ones I'm like, I wear all my shoes though.
I love that.
Yeah.
I wear all of my shoes. Like you can see like marks on pretty much every single one of them. I think another one that I always wear and will always wear is the 93.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's like one of my favorite.
Yeah, that is a classic.
They re-released that a few years ago as well. And then so favorite, go ahead and grab this. This would be this one.
Oh, little Swarovski crystal action.
Swarovski.
Yeah.
Nice. I think this
gold. I love it.
Yes. This is like one of my favorites, and I have the silver bullets. The silver bullets are also a shoe that Mama wouldn't let me get back in the day.
The Swarovski or the original ones? Or do you have both?
No, the original ones, the
Love.
silver bullets. So she wouldn't let me get them, and then I popped up with them when they re-released, and I was like,
What now?
"Jokes on you!" And I was singing like Dom Kennedy's 1997, and she had no clue what was going on.
That's amazing.
Oh my God. Oh, where are we?
When I wrote my first rhyme.
We're in the 90s, Jarod. We are in the 90s. I'm here for it.
She had no clue. She was looking at me like,
She was like, what?
"Just new shoes? Why are you pointing your toe like that?"
Oh my God. I freaking love it, man. Channing, that was, I love those shoes. Love this, love the reasons you love them all. Obviously, I mean, it's tied to your youth, right? That's when it all began. That's when you first fell in love. So all these things are bringing back those feelings. And, you know, even the times you got in trouble for maybe tricking your dad into buying you shoes that you shouldn't have gotten.
I said, I stand by that behavior.
Absolutely.
I feel like it was unreasonable for her to just limit me to Air Force Ones, A-Swiss, and Cortez. That was like next level rude, bro. Like,
100%.
Oh my God, folks, that was Shoe and Tell presented by Another Lane. Listen, if you want to potentially find some of those hard to find pairs, you're like, man, I don't know, I had those pair of 93s when I was a kid. Okay, just head over to anotherlane.com and just start browsing. So many sellers on there that have these deep, intricate collections. You might find you some. And our good friend Chad might be able to find it for you. Chad, don't kill me if you can't find it for somebody. And I told him that you could find it.
He'll find it. He's the god.
He is the god.
very dangerous.
So head over to anotherlane.com, folks, and check that out. Channing, thank you so much for joining us. This was a pleasure. Where can the people find you?
Well, you can always find me at CNK Daily. That's the plug. And yeah, personal, call her Chanlo. My screen name has elevated since AOL days.
I was gonna say, yeah, call her Chandler's a little bit more elevated. I like that. I feel you on that.
Oh no, I just revealed that to the world.
Listen, well, we have some funny ones where women on here talked about like dudes sliding in their DMs, so like hilarious stuff. But fellas, behave yourself, be respectful out here in these streets. Won't be causing no trouble.
Right. Gabby knows this.
It's true.
That's why
She's
I had
told
to
me.
send Gabby my phone number. I was like, girl,
I don't
You're taking it to the next level, girl.
You're like, ain't nobody in no DMs, chill. All right, folks. You know where to find us. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube as part of the Count the Digs family on the Bomb Network feed. And of course, we're on YouTube. We are on all social media platforms at Kicks and Shit Show. And we will see you guys next time. Peace.
Bye.